Hello everyone, in this tutorial we are going to learn how to use the string related field in our serializer to represent the target of the relationship between two models using the str method. And to demonstrate that, I created a new app called albums using python manage.py start app, and then inside the models.py file I created two models. One is album, the other one is track, and this first one will represent the albums or specific of a specific artist, for example, and the tracks inside each album will be represented by the model track, and they are both linked to each other, as you see, using a foreign key, which is many to one relationship. So in this case, for each model for each album I can have multiple tracks, okay, which makes sense. So we need to find a way when we request or we perform a GET request to the albums, we need to find a way to get all the tracks related to this album. And in order to do that, we need to use something called StringRelatedField in our serializer, which relies on the str method inside our track album. So if we go to the serializer, I have a simple serializer here that serializes the data between client and our API. So if I go now and if I run the server and perform a GET request to the URL that I configured here inside urls.py, so I configured an album to get the albums, track to get the tracks using the default router, and if I use the album link to get all the objects or the albums that I stored already, I'll be able to get all the objects or all the albums, and each object will be represented by its ID, album name, and artist. So to do that, let's run the server first. Obviously, after you create the app, I did create this app just to save time during the video, because we've done this before. But when you create the app, please, after you add your models, make sure you run the migrations, python manage.py make migrations, then migrate, then you can run the server. So I'm just gonna run the server now. Python manage.py run server. I'm gonna wait for the server to run, and then I'm gonna open Postman and perform a GET request to this URL, music albums. Okay, so I'm gonna open the Postman. I'm gonna open a new tab, and I'm just gonna type the link, which is music /albums. And then if I perform a GET request here, I can see that I have two albums here that I previously stored in the database, album 1 and album 2. And these two albums here, for example, the album 1 contains 3 tracks, but it doesn't show here. So I'm going to find a way, or I'm going to use the string related field inside the serializer to represent or to show the target relationship using the str method. So to do that, I'm just gonna go back to my code and open the serializer, and inside here, inside our album serializer, because we need to get the related tracks when we perform a GET request to the album serializer. So inside here, I'm going to declare a variable called track, equals Serializers dot string related field, and inside here I'm gonna add many equals true because I have many objects, and also because of the type of the relationship that I'm using, which is many to one. So now I need to add this variable here to the list or to the field, and by doing that, now if I perform a GET request to the album link, I'm supposed to get the album. Within the album, I will get all the tracks, or within the album object, I'm supposed to get all the tracks that are related to that album. So I'm going to save this. And obviously, just to mention, each track will be represented by this str method, which takes the order of the track and the title of the track. So I'm going to head back to the Postman, and now I'm going to perform another GET request, and I'm getting an error here. Let me see what's the error. Album object has no attribute track. So let me go back to the serializer. So the name here is track, and if I go check the models, the related name here tracks, so I'm supposed to name this here tracks to refer to that related name. So if I save this and wait for the server to rerun, and then go back to the Postman and perform a GET request, as you see now I get the two album objects, and inside the first album object I could simply see that I managed to get the tracks, which is a list of 3 tracks that I linked to the album 1, and they are represented inside the album object. And that was easily achieved by simply adding one line of code here and using the string related field to get the related object to this album. So that's it guys for this tutorial. Hope you learned something new, and if so, please hit the like button, that helps the channel. And if you're looking forward for more content like this, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. And until the next one.